The president's executive order on payroll tax deferment. What you need to know. All right, so we got lots of good information about the unemployment stuff and all that. It's the payroll tax. That's the big one. The payroll tax is the big one. I am not a fan of executive orders at all. I think the executive orders are way overused. I think way too many people are saying, as long as the president has a pen and a phone, they can change the laws magically. That's frightening, be it a Democrat or Republican. We should be negative on executive orders, but be it as it is. We should also not have communism, and yet we do. So let's read this a little bit. This is from the good folks at Aprio, a pretty big tax firm here in Atlanta. Hold on a second. I see my wife approaching. Hold on a second. We pause this. So it's my wife who forwarded this to me, so I had to. And then when my wife comes to tell me things to do, I listen. She's my drill sergeant. Drill Sergeant Charlotte. Private Joe Snuffy and Drill Sergeant Charlotte. Anyway. So let's read this. Dateline, I think it was August 12th of 2020, excuse me. I can't remember. All right, so let's just read it from a guy named Mitchell Koppelman. The Trumpsters signed a series of executive orders on August 8th that extended new relief to Americans impacted by the commie virus, including new unemployment bonuses and payroll tax deferral. These EOs ignited a flurry of debate on the legality and practicality of enforcing the new measures, as well as significant uncertainty regarding the future impact on both employers and employees. I'm an employer and employee. I don't get the benefit. The uncertainties surrounding the payroll tax deferral are exceptionally extensive. The president's memorandum offered few details on the implementation of the deferral, nor did it address any specifics related to forgiveness or the burden to repay the deferred taxes. What are the facts? Employees with an annual salary of 104 or less will be eligible for the deferral. The memorandum specifically states that employees making $4,000 or less pre-tax in wages or compensation bi-weekly will be eligible. The Secretary of Treasury is responsible for providing further details on the implementation of the memorandum. If this EO executive order withstands legal challenges, the Treasury will be responsible for defining rules around tax forgiveness and further implementation. The deferral option will be available 1 September through 31 December. What questions were made? What will this tax deferral look like for employers? I'm an employer. It's possible to assume that the Treasury will require businesses to provide employees the option to defer payroll taxes on an individual level. Specifically, this would involve deferring the FICA tax. However, the 6.2 FICA, how about the HI? That's hospital insurance, and Part A of Medicare, by the way. However, the wage limit mentioned in the memorandum will require further rules to define the $4,000 biweekly. A further complication will involve payroll companies' ability to quickly adjust their systems and processes to support such a dramatic new tax option. Why, man, jeez. How will this impact employees? The primary question impacting individuals is determining who holds the burden of repaying the deferred taxes, the employer or the employee. Further, what will the rules be regarding forgiveness, and how likely will it be that the individual who chooses to defer payroll tax will not have to repay those in the future? What will every employer in the U.S. have to ask each of their qualified employees if they want to defer? The memorandum specifies that all companies will be obligated to offer the deferral to all qualified employees. Although no one can be certain until the Treasury releases guidance, it is likely the deferral of the employee's FICA tax will result in an interest-free loan from the government. That loan might be payable in one of the following ways: payable back to the employer and then remitted to the government, payable directly to the IRS beginning in January, payable directly to the IRS when your tax returns are filed, or forgiven by the government, which ultimately is what I'd have to be, I think. If you're an employee and you take advantage of this deferral, we recommend you consider the possible repayment obligations, barring further guidance on possible forgiveness. You should consider the possible time frame for repayment to the government while planning your personal cash flow. If you decided not to take advantage of this interest-free loan and the government decides to make this amount forgivable, it'd be unknown if you would then be able to opt into the program. Probably not. Due to these uncertainties, each qualified person may be incentivized to take advantage of this deferral at the beginning, especially considering that it probably become permanent. I put the probably in there. They did not. If you typically pay estimated taxes, you might be able to reduce your self-employment portion of taxes on your September 15, 2020 estimate, though it's not mentioned in the memorandum. Bottom line, as Congress seems no closer to reaching a deal on the next round of economic relief, The Trumpsters' intervention provides a possible lifeline for individuals continuing to feel the impact of the pandemic. However, the impact of these new measures, especially the new payroll tax deferral option, will be dependent on the Treasury's ability to create clear rules related to the implementation and possible forgiveness of the deferral. All right, this is just a freaking clusterfuck. I'm sorry, man. The best way to stimulate the economy is to forgive payroll taxes. That's a fact. That is a fact. You want people to spend the money. You don't give them, I guess you could give them EITC, but you only get that when you file your taxes, the earned income tax credits. That's a wonderful way to stimulate the economy, for sure. You get money into the hands of people who don't make that much money. That's inherently a wonderful way to stimulate the economy, as long as they're not paying off debt, which is a concern that we'd have. But them paying off debt will free up more debt for them to stimulate, if that makes sense. Rightly or wrongly, it is what it is. But this right here is just man, you don't make it harder and harder and harder to know the tax code. This is saying, these executive orders got to stop, because it just makes it more difficult to understand. And what if I don't? I mean, I make too much money. Charlotte, she doesn't make $104,000, so if she doesn't defer, and I'd tell her not to, if she doesn't defer and then they forgive it, does she screwed? Probably, which is just rewarding, I don't want to say bad behavior, but then if she does defer and they don't forgive, then she's got to pay it back with what money? Do you think anyone's going to save? Uncertainty is the enemy of quality growth in the economy, that's for sure. Anyway, I hope that helps. There's no answer to this, and no one knows. Just you got to keep your eyes and ears peeled. I will help when I see stuff. We'll see you.